So, a little while after season 2 of Luke Cage and Iron Fist were released, we were told that their shows got cancelled, and almost straight after the release of season 3 for Daredevil, we were also told that his show got cancelled. And as it turns out, at this moment, it's looking like The Punisher will also get the axe. Now, to all of this, I say, to whoever is making these decisions, alright, up in your fancy boardroom, fuck you. Anyway, moving on with my review for season 2 of The Punisher. This season starts out with Punisher helping out a girl who's involved in some sort of scandal or controversy or whatever. This preacher-looking guy is after her. And the Punisher gets involved by keeping her alive, saving her from this kind of creepy guy. And I'll get into the creepy preacher guy soon. But when it comes to Frank and this girl, they were all right. Their duo, I guess you could say, in this season gave me some Joel and Ellie sort of vibes. You could also say Logan and X-23. But I won't go as far as saying that their chemistry on screen. Yeah. Anyway, I really don't think that they were anywhere near as good as those other two duos, but they were all right. I still love Frank. He's still a great character to watch on screen. John Bernthal continuously giving a really good performance for Frank Castle. As I've said, as I'm sure I've said a couple times before, John Bernthal is the Punisher. It's just he's so good at being who he is. I mean, he is that type of character. He's great. So I said that I would get into the preacher guy. And when it comes to the preacher guy, he was all right. The writers give him a story and stuff for us to relate to or empathize with. So he's a good character enough, okay? But I think they kind of cut to him a bit too much in the show. Or in this season, really. I think, I don't know, because there's just so much more that happens in this season that to me I found a lot more interesting than the stuff going on with this preacher guy. Anything involving this preacher guy and the scandal revolving around this young girl was, I'd say, an alright start to the season, but as it gets into more personal things concerning Frank and Madoni and Billy Russo, then, yeah, I was just more interested in that stuff. So when it kept cutting back to the preacher guy and touching on this story that was established in the beginning of this season, I just really wasn't as interested. But I will say that if not for, what's his name? Josh Stewart's performance, if not for his convincing enough performance, then I actually would have hated this character. So they did the character and this other story well enough for me not to be completely bored whenever it would pop up again. Alright, so when it comes to the more interesting side to this season, being Billy Russo, Madoni, and Frank, this is what I was going into the season expecting to see, because that's what the trailer teased, and that's what last season ended off with, and that's what we were all, that's what it teased. That's what we were expecting, and that's what I was expecting going in, and I have to say, I was not disappointed. I mean, they could have explored the whole story concerning, or the conflict, I guess you could say, the conflict involving Billy, Madoni, Frank. They could have done that more. Honestly, the whole season just could have been them, okay? And I don't know why it wasn't, in all honesty. But for what I got in this season, I was happy. And I have to say, Madoni, I might have loved more in this season than season 1. In all honesty, I really loved her, just because I'm already invested in her as a character, so seeing her go to the extremes that she goes to was really interesting, and really invested me in her as a character. Again, second time around, I loved her in season 1, but as I said, I maybe loved her more in this season. Another thing that this season briefly touches on is it begs the question, is Frank any better than Billy Russo? Is he a better character, a better guy? Is he the same? This season, for a little while, begs that question, and it was interesting, but that's what I wish it would have explored more. Okay, it only explores that for like a few episodes, maybe a couple. But that's what I kind of wanted to see more, because when they did, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay. But when something happens that makes us ask the question, holy shit, is he actually as bad as Billy Russo? That whole thing gets wrapped up like by the end of the same episode. So I don't know. But one thing I did actually find really interesting is how much the writers made me care about Billy Russo, which is such a change, seeing as last season I hated the guy and couldn't wait to see him die. This season I actually cared a lot more for him, because instead of his face being really fucked up, his mind is the jigsaw puzzle. So seeing him not know why Frank is after him, or why Frank fucked up his face, was really, I don't know, made me feel a lot of empathy for him. Anyway, I really loved the conflict between all three of them: Madoni, Billy Russo, Frank, and even Curtis. Oh my gosh, I forgot about Curtis, man. Curtis was, okay, the conflict between all four of them. Curtis was like an added addition to this conflict, but he was a great addition. I love Curtis. He's a great character. Anyway, when it comes to the conflict between all four of them, I'll say, and this season continuing on from where the last season left off, this is where season 2 really shines for me. Anything involving Billy, I'm invested, I'm locked in. It's all entertaining to me. And even the less entertaining parts of the season were entertaining enough for me not to be bored shitless when I was watching them. Like, with the preacher guy and that whole storyline. So overall, the season is good, okay? In my personal opinion, not quite as good as season 1. I just felt like, it kind of felt like Creed syndrome to me, where Creed 1 felt like a better film, but Creed 2 was still good, still pretty great. Okay, so it's kind of like that. Season 1 of The Punisher was, in my opinion, executed better, but this season was still good enough for me to actually love it. Anyway, that's my review for season 2 of The Punisher. It'll probably get cancelled sometime soon, so I'm just getting ready for it. But for my next review, I'll see you in my review for Captain Marvel. Hopefully that's not a letdown, because I am actually looking forward to that.